Waiting for the green flag, and there it is. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Lime Rock Park. Robert Thorne immediately jumps. Driver's left, 3 wide down towards turn number 1 as they all storm down. Thorne and Cattell side by side, still 3 wide as Thorne goes around the outside.
Yeah, Thorne's out there in the marbles, but he's hanging on to it, and let's see if he can, he just pulls ahead of him, but he's
here he comes.
Inside.
Big dive on Tomo into turn 3 in the left-hander, and Robert Thorne trying to go to the lead. Tomo's carrying 6% extra weight from his wins earlier in the weekend, and they're still drag racing door to door.
Man, that's some good tight racing in both guys.
All right, what is up, guys? I am back for part 2 of Lime Rock 2022. Let's get right into it. This is the start of race 3, and I'm replaying it because it's a pretty hectic start, and I wanted to show you guys the in-car camera. So we start second here alongside our good friend Tomo Gorman, who has been absolutely slaying it this weekend. And I thought I got a pretty good reaction to the green flag here, but if you look behind us, you can kind of see what happens here. Robert has a little bit of a roll up to the green flag, which gives him just a slight more momentum going to turn 1, which then allows him to send it 3 wide. Now this is extremely sketch, especially my car because of the cold rear tires. Front-wheel drive cars on race starts, they're always a handful. And then of course you got Andy behind you also trying to force the issue. So I'm in this ASM sandwich, and I'm just trying to get out of it in one piece, try to find some clear track. Unfortunately that does not happen because Andy does a pretty good job here keeping it 2 wide. And we're gonna keep it 2 wide all the way to the uphill section. Now there's very few drivers that I trust in this league to go 2 wide in risky corners like this, but Andy's definitely one of them. Fantastic driver, and that's exactly what we're gonna do here. We're going 2 wide, and we're gonna go 2 wide again in the next corner. And that allows me to set up a lot of momentum around the outside and slingshot around Andy. And then coming down this hill, I got that extra speed to just barely clear him. So what a move, 3rd place, let's keep it going.
By side, just drag racing, and he just pulled the car ahead of him. So let's see how they do in the corners here.
He's carrying rewards weight from his wins earlier this weekend. It's going to hurt him. Now Thorne goes around the outside. O'Gorman's front bumper is kind of buffeting up and down there. Still nose to tail now as looks like Thorne's going to tuck in tight. Smedegaard wide, dropped a tire in the dirt. Look at this battle for the top spot, though, in GLTC.
Oh,
Tomo slips, and
wiggle.
Thorne is there.
Yeah, I mean, he was right there, trying to capitalize on that wiggle, but there's just not enough room and not enough time to make it happen there. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a run here.
So unfortunately, a little bit of contact between Ronnie and the Integra and Andy. Seems like Ronnie might have went in a little too hot and understeered into Andy and pushed him off track, which caused Andy to lose a few positions. You kind of hate to see it, but mistakes do happen. Fortunately, both of the cars were fine. They continued on racing, but what that meant for us was now we had a huge gap to 3rd, which allowed me to really focus on the 2 cars ahead of me because they were flying, and I was trying my best to keep up.
And again, Thorne's going to chase him over to driver's right. Nose to tail, wall bomb drops a tire. Hurdle approaching from behind. Here comes Thorne with a big sweep to the left and a late dive on the brakes.
I'm waiting for Thorne to give him a fake here and do that big pop out. Wait for O'Gorman to go back onto the racing line and then dive in at the last minute under braking. Let's see if he comes up with that move. I feel like that could be the only spot where he can get him. O'Gorman can just hold him up in these corners.
All right, so we're a few laps into this race, and the car is already starting to become quite the handful. So I'm not really sure what happened in this race compared to the previous 2. It was the following day, so conditions definitely did change. And I think I might have tried to adjust the setup a little bit to account for the morning sessions. But whatever I ended up doing made the car significantly worse. I went the wrong way on the knob adjustments, I guess you can say. Because the car in this race was an absolute handful. In a front-wheel drive car, loose is fast. But when you have unpredictable loose and snapping loose, it's really hard to drive a 10/10 and run consistently fast laps. And you can see lap 7 here, Andy, which was involved in that incident earlier, he already caught up to us. He probably made maybe 4 or 5 seconds on me to catch up. And Andy probably was, no, he definitely was the fastest car in this race. He ran the fastest lap time. So, yeah, I'm basically just a sitting duck here. The 2 leaders, they checked out, and Andy is just going to basically drive right around me here. He's got all the momentum in the world. I have 0 confidence in the car. It's just struggling this race. This was pretty disappointing to have the pace to be up there in the first 2, and then the 3rd race, the car is just acting like a complete monster. It's it's kind of hard to watch, honestly, and that first corner is a perfect example of what a nightmare it was. And as the race progressed, it just got worse and worse. The way the tires kind of overheated a little bit, the fronts and the rears. Understeer, and then he goes into snap oversteer. It's just not a good setup. So at this point, there's only one thing I can do. Just bring the car home in one piece and don't bin it. Podium finish is basically out of the question. Andy's going to drive away here. So let's just hold on to that for him.
To work hard for this one. More lap traffic ahead, but Tom will do it again. Robert Thorne just needed a couple more laps and a little more luck to get by him. Tom wins. Thorne second. Smedegaard in third. Catil in fourth. Then Ronnie Vidoc in the number one. Comes home.
All right, we managed to not put it in the wall, so that's a success, I guess. But fourth place, which is still a pretty good result. You have to also consider that this is the second ever event in the car, and I'm still learning a lot about, you know, the chassis dynamics, the setup, and all that. So can't complain too much. Yes, I did finish 10 seconds behind the leaders, but hey, 2 seconds and a fourth is pretty solid so far. That's going to be good for the weekend championship, and we got one more, which is always the fun one. Race 4, and we got an invert. And the invert number is 9. 9 cars are being inverted for race 4, which means I'm starting in 5th position, if I do my math correctly. 5th or 6th, either one.
Final race of the weekend.
Here we go.
A 9-car invert from race 3. The pace car takes the right-hand turn onto the pit lane entry. And for the final time this weekend, we go racing in GLTC. Luke McGrew on the pole, and on his outside, Tyler Pappas in the gray BMW. Time to go racing, and we are. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Lime Rock. Look at Robert Thorne, 3 wide on the outside of Andy Smedegaard. Can he squeeze up left side tires in the dirt as they head to turn 1? 4 wide for a moment. You cannot do that. They're still 4 wide through turn 1.
Wow, that is tight. That was an awesome jump by Thorne to get that far ahead already. Looks like this battle for 4-way battle for third.
Man, Matt Walbaum had to back out. He was 3 wide with Thorne and Austin Hurdle, who slips and slides. McGrew still side by side with Pappas for the lead. BMW versus Corvette. Look at this 2x2x2 as they come out of 4.
So if you thought race 3 had a wild start, race 4 was a whole other animal. 4 wide into turn 1 at Lime Rock. How crazy is that? But a few things to cover. Number 1, Robert did get disqualified for that race start. Unfortunately, he did jump the start a little bit. And then number 2, I was stuck in this damn slow lane behind Austin Hurdle. I don't know what the hell this guy was doing in the 370Z, but he couldn't get his tires fired up or something. It was a frustrating first lap, and I was just stuck, couldn't go anywhere. Everybody driving on the outside, but finally here, I cleared him.
1 lap complete, and the timing and scoring tells the picture. They hit the timing and scoring. Luke Pappas leads. Thorne second. McGrew third. O'Gorman into 4th place. An unbelievable climb. Here comes Tomo now looking for third in 1 lap, up 6 positions.
All right, finally some clear track, but there's a huge cluster up going on in front of us. The inverted race starts always cause a lot of drama and a lot of hectic races because you have a mixture of cars that are on pace, cars that may not be up to full pace, cars that are probably struggling a little bit like Luke McGrew in the Corvette, and you got the 2 ASMS 2000s here hounding him, and then you got me trying to pick up the scraps. Unfortunately here I get into the marble just a little bit, which kind of killed a lot of momentum going into this final corner, but we're going to try to make something happen. And set myself up for maybe a potential pass here. Get good exit speed. I'm going to pick the Hondas, because obviously 3 Hondas is better than 1 vet. Sorry, Luke. And I'm almost going to spin on Matt Walbaum with a sketchy bump draft. Of course, that wasn't intentional. I was just trying to push him forward so we can both clear Luke McGrew with the bump draft. Unfortunately, my bumper got hooked onto his exhaust pipe, which was right in the middle of his rear bumper, which made for a really sketchy situation to where I almost spun him out going into the first corner. So, lesson learned there. Don't bump draft the SMS 2000s, but luckily we made it out of there alive. So now, continuing on with the battle. Unfortunately, did not clear Luke McGrew, so we're still 2 wide. He's got that V8 power. He's going to motor right on by me. And he's actually got really good drive out of this uphill corner on the outside, and he clears me. So quite unfortunate. I got to do all that over again. And as a reminder, this is the battle of the fresh builds. Luke McGrew in the Corvette in front of me. He also debuted his build at the previous event in Ohio. So both of us on our second events. This event, I was a little bit faster than him. He was kind of struggling. But let me cut to the best pass of the season
Here
right
comes
here.
Robert Thorne, drag racing into turn 1.
Yeah, he got it. It's kind of funny seeing that.
Look at O'Gorman. He goes, dives down the inside in turn 1 and steals a spot from Pappas. He caught him sleeping and is now drag racing for the first spot. Here he goes. He takes the lead away into 3. But here comes Thorne back to the inside.
That was impressive. That, just perfect timing and just seized on the opportunity. And then how he takes the lead onto the no-name straight.
Man.
Like I said multiple times, Tom's an absolute machine. Insane driver, and that was basically the theme of this whole season. Tom just dominating every race. Like I said before, unfortunately Robert didn't get disqualified, so their battle for first place was kind of superficial. Of course, Robert didn't know at this point, so he's trying to win the race. Tom's trying to win the race. But let's get back to my battle a little bit further back. Still here with Luke McGrew, and you can kind of tell I checked up a little bit there so I can get more speed on the exit and get myself a good run up onto the front straight. And that seemed to do the trick, because here I am making the move on Luke.
Two very different vehicles. It looks like Coutil's got a little better line on there on the inside. Let's see if he can hold it.
They touch there just maybe a smidge through Big Bend, and Coutil's got it. McGrew slots in behind him. Pole sitter for this race couldn't quite hang on. Austin Hurdle now has, wow, big slide for Coutil. Rear end rotating big time on that car.
Oh yeah, he's pushing it. I imagine he has the rear end pretty lively there.
All right, let's fast forward a few laps later. After clearing Luke McGrew, we had a lot of clean, open laps that allowed me to knock off some really decent lap times and reel these two guys in. So we got Matt Walbaum, another ASMS 2000, and then we got Tyler Pappas in that E36 BMW. Now, he was struggling because he had absolutely zero aero. At least I had something. He had nothing. But we got 4th place on the cards here. Let's see if I can make a move in this next corner and set him up.
The club here, he runs 6th. The top 5 is right in front. Pappas with a huge slide there.
Yeah. What an epic save. Absolutely wild.
And Coutil thinks better of going side by side for the moment, but that BMW is struggling with rear grip right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You would think with that sort of a mistake, I guess you could call it a mistake, that issue, that maybe Coutil could get a run, but there's just no room there.
Yeah, Pappas is really out of control. The rear end squirming behind that car as he tries to find grip here with just about 4 minutes remaining.
He didn't make it easy, I'll tell you that.
And now they run door to door down the front stretch. Coutil looking for 5th on Tyler Pappas. He has established his overlap and a textbook pass for P5 for Eric Coutil in the hybrid racing EG.
Final few laps here. 4th place is still possible. It's right in front of me. Finally got some clean air, taking off some good laps, trying to reel Matt Walbaum back in. He's struggling just as much as I am. You can tell he's pushing loose a little bit. But yeah, this race I was kind of unlucky in a lot of scenarios. First of all, the race start was hectic, and then I kind of got stuck in the slow lane. And then this track was difficult to pass around because if you didn't make the move stick, you kind of were stuck behind them for an extra lap. So, trying to get around Luke McGrew in the Corvette and then the BMW really took me a few extra laps more than it should have, which caused me to kind of lose touch with the lead pack. I mean, 1st and 2nd place are gone, but Andy and then Matt, the two S2000s right in front of me here, they were still kind of within my sights. But finally, we got some clean track. I'm trying to reel them in, and I believe this is the final lap, and it's possible we can still get 4th. So I'm trying my best here. Let's see what we can make happen. I'm going to go quiet for this final lap and let you guys enjoy the finish.
Walbaum's got lap traffic. This could certainly influence the end of the race here. O'Gorman will win the event 4 for 4. Walbaum dives through the lap traffic, and Coutil has to give it up. He can't get there as they come to the checkers.
Got caught out. There's nothing he can do there. Walbaum really got perfect timing, ultimately.
number 4. Once again, Tom O'Gorman from ASM with Hawk Performance, Robert Thorne from ASM.
Dude, I almost had you, but apparently I never had my car. Well, sometimes, even though I had the pace to make it happen, it didn't, and that's just how racing goes sometimes. Yeah, the 2-lap cars might have gotten in the way a little bit in the final 2 corners, but at that point I wasn't going to send a Hail Mary and try to make a move. There's no point in writing the car off for 4th place. 5th place, not too bad. We got 2 seconds, a 4th, and a 5th. That's pretty awesome. And come to think about it, the disqualifications after the race actually promoted me up to 4th place. So 2 seconds, 2 fourths.
P3 with a 13, a 15, and a 21 points for the weekend. 64 combined. Matt Waldbaum in P3.
The podium.
Everybody's a little tired. It feels like we've been here for a year, and I also don't want to leave because I love this place. In P2, really impressive second event for this car. He also almost wrote it off on the live stream during the shootout. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's nuts.
Oh man, how can I possibly forget the epic save that I teased at the beginning of part 1 and I didn't show. So yeah, let's get into that. Probably the biggest save of my life. But to give you guys a little bit of background on the whole situation, Gridlife had this awesome idea to do a shootout style format which showcased some of the most legendary race cars that were at the Gridlife Circuit Legends event. And I was fortunate enough that my Civic was actually chosen to participate. So this lap here, this is the out lap. I'm just trying to warm up the tires and set myself up for a good flyer. Now this wasn't a competition, this didn't mean anything, this was just for pure fun and to show the cars off on the live stream and talk a little bit about them. Of course, being a racer, I wanted to go all out. And to be honest, I had an urge to try to go flat out in the downhill final corner. I had a feeling that the car could do it if I set myself up just right, and I figured, hey, you know what? I'm gonna try it. I'm just going to keep my foot pinned to the floor, and I'm gonna send it, and I'm gonna see what happens. Was that the smartest decision I could have made during this shootout event? Absolutely not. It was honestly pretty freaking stupid. So let's see how this all went down. This is the first flyer. We're coming up to the final corner here. Gotta send it. Best of luck to me, I guess.
Up next is Eric Cattell. This is one of our Gridlife Touring Cup drivers, and this has a lot of significance in the racing world. This is an EG generation Honda Civic, and there's a lot to talk about with this particular car. This is a 1992 Honda Civic, the 5th generation, slightly larger and more aerodynamic than its predecessor, as Eric Cattell goes for a big slide at the exit at 7.
The problem wasn't keeping my foot flat to the floor. It was actually the moment that I lifted off the throttle, because my brain said flat, but my foot said, hell no, we ain't doing that. And then as soon as I lift off that throttle, the back end snapped, and then I was in full counter steer mode. Of course, I got steering rack limiter, so I didn't have much angle to play with. But yeah, just foot to the floor, powered out of it. And yeah, I guess I made it out alive with some epic pictures.
That was a big pucker moment for sure, but lightweight materials, the engines had the D15, the D16, B18, and B16, all engines that Honda guys know a lot about. It was offered as a coupe, a hatchback, and a 4-door sedan. This is the 2020 GLTC champion, and he built this car to capture the essence of the Japanese Touring Car Championship, the JTC3 division, which won the Manufacturers Championship in 1993 with Team Mooncraft.
Really cool build. This is his new car. His other car was a different, it was a hatchback, had a bit of damage at Road America last year. Unfortunately, Eric was okay. Chassis probably salvageable. It's still in the garage. Eric is also one of the originators of the idea of GLTC, along with myself and several other friends. We bantered around rule sets for about 2-3 years. GLTC probably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Eric Cattell. Another reason that we want him in this shootout. One of the more winning GLTC drivers of all time, and this brand new build looks like it might be on the podium this year too, this weekend. So.
A great looking build, and it's representative of our tour.
21 and 21 and 16 and 18 for combined 76. There's the cool kid Cattell. Very impressive for such an early on build. Beautiful build if you have not seen it. A lot of effort put into there. And I think we know who won because, man, he's on a roll. He's dialed, unreal. And he ran out in the drift session, and I saw his door open on the first turn, so I'm going to make fun of him for that later. That has to be in race 1. 25, 25, 25, and 25. Another home run for Tom O'Gorman. Good job, bud. He's won in a lot of things. Last year he told me that GLTC might be the hardest racing he's ever had to do, and we really appreciate that as a compliment. He's one of the best drivers on the continent, and he deserves to win this one. Great job, Tom. Great team behind Tom. ASM and the gang doing a great job this year.
All right, there you go, guys. That's it. We got second place overall at the second event ever with this car. What a crazy event. And up next, we have Heartland Motorsports Park to finish off the 2022 season. And to finish this video off, I just want to say thank you so much, Hybrid Racing, for all the support. You guys basically make all of this happen. I want to also really say thank you, and I love you, to my amazing fiance, Emily. She's always there for me. She puts up with this lifestyle. And of course, thanks to my friends, family, all my supporters, all you guys. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next vid.